So I have a rifle that should be done, I think this month. It should be pretty soon. I've got a 300 Norma hunting setup that's getting done, and I'm amped about it. Well, I'll do I'll do a overview when it gets done, but it's in a Foundation Gideon. It's a Lone Peak. Let's see, it's a Lone Peak 338 titanium, which is friggin' sick. It's gonna have a switch lug, 300 Norma barrel, Hawkins bottom metal, Hawkins rings. Still getting everything. It's gonna be Cerakoted and the lurk pattern again. Anyways, it's gonna be sick. I I really think I'm gonna shoot Clayton's match with the Norma. I think that'll be fun. Hey guys, welcome back to Red, White, and Moose, the show dedicated to the relentless pursuit of excellence, whether it's behind a trigger, in a competition, or just in the daily grind of life. Everything we do demands precision. Guys, this year is coming to an end. We've all got a million things going, starting to get plans together for next year. And that's what this episode is going to be about, kind of recapping what, 2025 was like, getting plans together for 2026, some different matches and, kind of what that looks like. Before we kind of get in everything, some updates for you guys. So, I live in Amarillo. I'm in Texas, but I'm in, the far north part of Texas where it actually does get cold. And the heat in the shop went out this week, which has been super frustrating because it's cold and the scales don't want to work for the powder, which is super frustrating. But use that. Essentially been getting a bunch of shit done around the shop projects. So I completely rearranged the whole shop. It kind of started out with getting stuff set up exactly how I wanted for the podcast. So if I hope you guys are enjoying the video portion of this. So I've really been working, like diving deep into camera settings and lenses and lighting, and I think it's really starting to look good. I'm still kind of tweaking things, but take a look. The studio behind me, I think I'm looking. I really am liking how it turns out. So y'all let me know what you think. And then I built a new photography area in the corner. So for going to be doing a lot of pictures there, and then getting into more YouTube videos, more content, some gear stuff, and so I'm excited to have that. If you haven't, so go follow me on Instagram. It's at the Mike Burdis. I've been posting a lot of the stuff and kind of behind the scenes stuff. But the new area is, I think, pretty cool. I did some kind of test pictures with just kind of seeing what it would look like and trying out different lighting and some things like that. So hopefully y'all can tell in the background, lighting is the biggest pain in the dick. So I'm not a photography guy. I've always kind of appreciated it, thought it was cool, but it's very technical. And to be honest, like I feel like I'm a fairly smart individual, but every time I'd start kind of digging into it, it would just like over my head. And so I've just kind of been trying to take my time a little bit digging into it, but it's working. So y'all should see this lighting setup. Like I'm sitting in a dark room and I got 6 lights on, but it's awesome. It's pretty. But I hope y'all like it. I think it's turning out really good, and there's going to be a lot more content coming out here on the channel. Not only podcast episodes, but some more YouTube videos, and then on Instagram, a lot more stuff coming out as well. So make sure you go check it out, the Mike Burdis on Instagram, and the show's page, Red, White, and Moose on Instagram as well. My wife is out hunting right now, so it's kind of I'm batching it for a few days. She's I hope she's out, having some success. I think it's freaking badass that my wife likes to hunt. I would be curious, if y'all have wives that do it as well. And then the last little highlight, or low light, I guess, this week. I don't think I talked about it last week, but the Aggies blew it against Texas. Freaking sucks. I battered Aggie syndrome to the max. It's like I said, it's been fun, super fun watching them have a great season, and it just sucks that it was to Texas. But it's just that rivalry, you never know what's going to happen. But Texas just absolutely dominated especially towards the end of the game. It was awful. Um, there is a little bit of reprieve, I guess, that they didn't make the playoffs and the Ags did. So suck it, nerds. But I don't know. This is also where the college football ranking system is messed up. I don't know. I mean, they beat us and we made it and they did. And granted, we've had a better season, but I don't know. But hopefully the Ags do halfway decent in the playoffs. It's just a little disheartening seeing them really suck it up. But before we get into the episode, let's get rocking and rolling. This episode is brought to you by Alpha Munitions, Lone Peak, Collis Foundation, Hawkins Precision, West Texas Ordnance, Raven Rifles, and Botany Solutions. Guys, these are the absolute best in the biz. Check them out. This episode is brought to you by West Texas Ordnance. West Texas Ordnance is a full-service custom rifle shop, and that full-service custom rifle shop is located on a 2,500-yard shooting range. It doesn't get any cooler than that. They cut all of my barrels for my hunting rifles, competition rifles, test barrels, and they are all absolute hammers. Check out their patented switch-leg system for easy, repeatable barrel swaps, or the saw line of cartridges now including the 7 saw, 22 saw, and 25 saw. From their signature series of rifles all the way to their full custom rifles, they've got you covered. Next time you get a rifle going, check out West Texas Ordnance. This episode is brought to you by Lone Peak Arms. Lone Peak makes absolutely amazing competition and hunting actions. Their Razor and Fusion line is available in short and long action, left or right, and stainless or titanium. I've been running Lone Peaks for years, and I've run them in snowy, muddy, sandy conditions, and they just keep on ticking. Your action is the heart of your rifle, and make sure you're starting it off strong. Next rifle you get going, make sure you start it out with a Lone Peak action. This show is partnered with Collis. Collis is the world's oldest successful rifle scope manufacturer, so it's no surprise with that many years of experience, they've released their game-changing lineup. The K328i and the K540i truly are game changers. With a 40% wider field of view, they make a huge difference in competition and in the field. I love the DLR models with the easy-to-read elevation turrets, and they've got top-tier glass that provides the ultimate color and clarity. When you're ready to be at the top of your game, you need a game-changing scope from Collis. Check out the K328 and K540i. This show is partnered with Botany Solutions. Botany makes the most high-performing muzzle brakes on the market. They've got a low dust signature, so you're not getting the crap beat out of you when you're shooting prone. They've got upward-facing ports to help drive the rifle down when you're shooting positional and be able to see more through your scope. I love them. I've been running the MIDI on my hunting rifles and my NRL Hunter setup and couldn't be happier with it. And then when I need the most, I put the Maxi. I've got that on my PRS rifle. And when you need all of the recoil control that you can possibly get, look no further than Botany Solutions. Alpha Munitions sets the gold standard for rifle brass. Their OCD technology has been the first improvement for rifle brass in decades. I use it for hunting, competing. I use it in the business. Honestly, it's just the easy button for getting your ammo to shoot good. If you're looking to get the most out of your ammo or you want to lower your SDs, make sure you start out your ammo with a good foundation and use good quality brass. Find out why more top competitors are using Alpha Munitions brass in the PRS than any other brand. Next time you're getting your ammo started, make sure you start it out with Alpha Munitions brass. This show is partnered with Hawkins Precision. Hawkins makes precision rifle hunting components built to help you go further and shoot farther. From lightweight hunting rings to heavy tactical rings to hunter bottom metals and flush magazines, they've got you covered. I run Hawkins on all of my rifles. I've got their ultralight rings, their heavy tack rings, the cantilever mount, one-piece mount for PRS, their M5 bottom metal, hunter bottom metals. I absolutely love it. I run them on everything. Next time you're getting a rifle going, make sure you finish it out with Hawkins Precision. This show is partnered with Raven Rifles. Raven Rifles produces artwork that shoots. Their custom lurk Cerakote pattern provides depth and colors that honestly most patterns just dream of. Their limited release rifles are truly a work of art. They're available in limited numbers and guaranteed to be an eye catcher. I absolutely love the lurk pattern. You can see the snow wolf and copperhead patterns on the rifles behind me. They just truly become functional works of art. When you're looking to stand out above the rest, check out Raven Rifles. This episode is brought to you by Foundation Stocks. I've been using Foundation's micarta line of stocks for years, and now with their new hybrid line combining micarta, carbon fiber, and Kevlar, you get that dead recoil impulse that their competition stocks have been known for, now in a lightweight hunting rifle that's light enough to take into the woods. I've been running their Centurion and Samson and Revelation, and now I have their Ezekiel and Gideon stocks, and I absolutely love them. Feel less and see more with Foundation stocks. All right, so getting into the episode, guys. So, December is, a lot of people are, thinking, holidays, Thanksgiving just wrapped up, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up, a lot of family stuff going. And I do the same. Thankfully, I'm really close with my family. We've got a small family, but, we're pretty tight knit. But this is a good time, where a lot of people, this is all they're doing, or things are kind of, hitting slow, lulls and slow spots, and, people kind of use it to recoup and, get some energy, and that's all well and good, but this is also a really good opportunity to get ahead, of people that are taking it easy, that are relaxing. This is just free time for you to put in some work, get some stuff put together, and come out ahead of everybody else. So, looking back this year, I've those that are following the show, I've talked about a little bit. This year was freaking insane. Not to, y'all don't need my whole fucking personal life, but I got mono early this year that lasted way too long, lost a ton of weight, and dealt with, crap with that. And then we had the Dust Devil duel match, which was sick. It was awesome, but it was a huge time commitment. And then um the Precision Rifle blog article came out, which was awesome. I'm super appreciative of Cal and everyone, but it buried us, and just expanding and the stresses that come with that, and it's now everything is rocking and rolling really well, and it's great. I got it. Well, shit. I got attacked by my dog earlier this year. That's why I got scars on my face. It's been a pretty rough year, but there have been a lot of good things that have come out of it. Um, so looking back, NRL was a really big highlight for me personally this year. Um, so we started out, went to Freestone, the Freestone Hunter match in Texas, and my buddy Taylor Crabtree is the match director for that match. We went. It was his first 2-day NRL, and it was awesome. He honestly, they did a really good job. The facility is cool. For those that didn't go, it's on a national championship level motocross track. Like, it's pretty legit. And then, but they've got multiple tracks on this facility, and it's on some land. And so then they built, multiple areas shooting. It was very, very cool. They did a very good job. But it wasn't just, and this is where I love seeing match directors that get it. Taylor wanted to provide like an experience, like something. It wasn't just coming out and shooting, and I think they accomplished that. It was, the food was great, the atmosphere was great, it was fun. Like they brought a 40 millimeter grenade launcher out one of the nights, and we could shoot that. I mean, it was cool. Like, it was a really good time. I shot open light. I took it's this 6 PRC setup that's up here on the wall. I just take that barrel off and put I've got a 20-inch carbon fiber 7 saw barrel, and I ran that, and I got this trophy right here on the shelf. I got second in open light, and sixth overall at that match. It was super fun. um that was It was good. And I've talked and me and Taylor have talked a ton. I mean, he's been, tweaking and making adjustments, just like, every good match director should. If I had to put one complaint, and I don't want to say complaint, but it was a little too easy. There was the targets were fairly big. He knows that, he's going to make some adjustments. Not that it's going to be like night and day difference, from what I understand. But he's just, making tweaks bigger and better this year. I'm excited. But that was a really good match. And then the next one was the Cactus Classic at Caprock Rifle Club in Brownfield. So Clayton, so for those that don't know, so West Texas Ordnance does all my gunsmithing, and they are located on Caprock Rifle Club. So it's a 2,500 yard range with a full custom rifle pro shop on site. I mean, it's badass. And so then that's where the match is held. Last year was their first 2-day NRL match, and it was the first 2-day NRL match in Texas, and it was awesome. And I was so glad to see them get that and bring it into Texas. And then this year we had their match again, Taylor's match, and then our match in Amarillo, and we did the Texas Triple Crown, and it was awesome. Like, you guys really rallied behind it and supported us, and it was really really cool. But I shot the Clayton's match, and I took this one. I took this 25-7 PRC that's in the Copperhead pattern right here. It wasn't Cerakoted like that yet, but took that shot in open heavy. I came in 13th overall. I had gotten a bad batch of bullets, unfortunately, that kind of, I mean, they obviously shot decent, but there were some flyers that were pretty, that definitely hurt me. But it is what it is. But they're all checked out now, so it's good. But that was a really good match, a very very fun match. And again, another match director that gets it, that doesn't just put on something for people to come shoot at. The food was great. The event itself was great. Like, everyone had a good time. Like, it was awesome. It was really really cool. And then, you know, the Dust Devil duel. It was our match. It was me and the Bivens brothers. It was our first year. I think it was a huge success. I was very very happy with how it went. We learned a ton, things that we were going to tweak and improve for next year. And it was our first year. We knew that we were going to have a bunch of stuff to learn from, and we did. But I was very very happy. To be honest, it was better than I ever could have imagined for our first year. um so thank you, like, sincerely thank you to everyone that came out. And I'm still hearing feedback from it. Like, I absolutely love it. But what was cool, it was, so the Triple Crown that we did, it was those three matches. And we did, it was I think it was sick. Whoever had the highest like, whoever did the best out of those three won the Texas Triple Crown, and that ended up being Dan Harride, from Raven Rifles, which I was stoked to see one of my buddies do that well and win. But we had we got together and we built a custom rifle for it, and it was sick, like, absolutely sick. And so I'm talking to the guys. We're gonna try and do that again next year. There are more matches in Texas this year, um, which is great. But I think we're still gonna do our 3 match Triple Crown, because 5 is just, it's too much, too excessive for y'all to have to go do all those. But uh, check out honestly, all 3 of those matches, because like I said, I think we're gonna do the Triple Crown again. And then the last NRL match I did this year was the Sooner State Safari, which, for next year, it's changed to Best of the West. I think it's Best of the West Safari. Dan and I went and shot that together as teams, won first place, and it was my first national match win, which I was ecstatic, honestly ecstatic about. And it's this trophy right here. We got poker sets um for the trophies from that match. But that one, honestly, I was ecstatic. We beat second place by 29 points. We really shot our asses off, to be honest. We were very in sync, in tune, and just shooting incredibly good. I wish we could have done that at the Grand Slam, but it is what it is. Um, but that was a awesome match. So I'm not going to get to make that one this year, unfortunately. Or next year. But I highly, highly encourage people to go. That venue that place is shot on is one of the coolest places I've shot, and it's big. It's rolling hills, creeks and little canyons and cuts and trees. And I mean, it's honestly of just such a beautiful place, and it does some really unique stuff with the wind. And the guys that run it know how to write a very good course of fire. And it's always very fun and challenging, but fair. But I highly recommend people going to that. I hate that I'm not going to get to go. But just I got I gotta make a cut at some point, unfortunately. Um, and speaking of, so making plans for for all this, a big thing, in my opinion, is where these finales, are going to end up being at. I'm freaking glad to see the PRS for 2026 is doing the finale at Twisted Barrel in Little Rock. If that facility is phenomenal. The guys running that are just absolute top notch, top dudes. I really like them, and that place is sick. But the big thing is, hopefully it won't be, the weather won't be brutal. But it's just I wish some of these organizations would take that into account more. Like in Arizona in August is insane. So then PRS. Unfortunately, I really didn't get to shoot much PRS this year. Just with as busy as the business was and everything else going on, I really didn't get to shoot near as much as I wanted to. I was going to shoot some earlier in the year, and then with mono and our match and everything else, I didn't get to go. I did get to go shoot Silent Night. It was my third year in a row going to this match. The last 2 years, I had done really well. The trophy on the shelf from last year, I got. So the first year they had it, I got third. I tied for second, 1 point behind the leader. And then last year I got second, 1 point behind the leader again. And I was very frustrated. And then this year, man, it was a little bit of a shit show trying to get everything prepped and ready. And honestly, I shot pretty decent, but one stage I had my suppressor came loose. I mean, it was my fault. But shifted, and I think I either zeroed or got a one on that stage. I just absolutely tanked it. And then another stage the next night, um, my battery died in my scope and my illumination went away. And it did it as I was starting the stage, and so I couldn't find my reticle, and it just sucked. And I think I got like a 2 on that stage, and that was enough to just tank the weekend. It is what it is. I was wanting to try and make worlds for next year in TAC, but with the way that one was, and I didn't have time to make more matches, so I kind of called it. And I didn't go to the finale or not going to worlds next year. Um, Unfortunately, it is what it is, but um, I am very glad that the business is doing well. And that's the problem I guess I'm having to deal with. But looking into next year, this is where I think things get fun and exciting. So for PRS, I'm not going to let what happened this year happen again. And thankfully, things are way more in check now and caught back up. And I've put a lot of work in to get things, you know, set up well. But I'm making plans, and so if I can get my plan is I would like to go to Gravestone, Punisher, and the King of Coal Canyon match. Now, unfortunately, because I'm an idiot and not paying attention enough, Gravestone is sold out. I have posted looking for a spot, but if you are registered for Gravestone in January 2026 and you cannot make it, please shoot me a message on Instagram. I would like to buy your spot from you because I would like to go. So for those that haven't seen Gravestone, Jake Graves opened Gravestone recently, and it's a phenomenal facility. Jake is a badass dude. He's been putting on some really good matches, and man, Gravestone's honestly kind of like the hotness right now. It's Texas is really blowing up with a lot of great shooters, and having a good facility like that, I think, is only breeding more of them. But it's been bringing a lot of big people in and good matches. So if I can get a spot, I really want to go to that. I think that I haven't got to shoot there yet. I've been by there and toured it and talked to Jake and all that, but I would really like to shoot it. And then Punisher. So I didn't get to go this year, but it was my first year not to make it. Since I started shooting PRS, Punisher is absolutely one of my favorite matches. And this is my opinion, but I think it kind of embodies what PRS is. It is 100% positional match. Um, and the range is really, really cool. Derek and Beamer do a good job. The course of fire, I think, is always very challenging, and the it's in Kansas, so you never really know what you're going to get for weather. And I've kind of shot in everything there, but it's just super fun. It's generally a pretty big match. Generally brings a lot of good shooters. But I'm going to really try to make it. So that one's on the list to go to, and then the King of Coal Canyon match. So I didn't get to go, yeah, this year, but I've shot that one quite a bit, and it is also one of my favorites. And it is the complete opposite of Punisher. It is like probably an 80% prone match because so it's at the Whittington Center in Raton, New Mexico, and because it's not, it's a big range. They can't permanently leave props, so it is a mostly prone match, but it's cool because you're down in this valley, that's part of the Whittington Center, and the winds there just do some crazy stuff. To be honest, every time I've shot there, it's been beautiful because it's generally in May, and but it is in my opinion, some of the hardest like 3, 4, 5, 6 mile an hour winds I've shot in. It just switches so much. um, but it's a mostly prone, small target, tricky win match. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's pretty fun, and Thunder Beast is now the title sponsor for that. So I'm excited to get to go that one. But so that's the three that I'm going to try and shoot for next year, and then go to the finale at Twisted Barrel. So then NRL, and this one, and so I've really kind of changed my focus on for this coming year going to matches, just with the time that I have and everything. As much as I hate to uh admit it, I just don't really have the time to put in, like, to practice, and um just with the way my mind works and everything. You know I'm gonna go try and do the best I can, but I don't know. I'm not like truly chasing points, I guess, is the way I'm looking at it. So it's more, I'm definitely looking to go have fun, and see what I can do. But then NRL, I'm really stoked for the NRL season this year, and I'm gonna do things different this year with NRL. I was talking to Dan earlier this week, and we're gonna go do Freestone again this year. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get to make it. We got a lot of stuff coming up next year that I can tell y'all about soon. But we're gonna go to Freestone. We're gonna shoot teams, and I'm freaking amped. Shooting teams with Dan this year when we won was one of the funnest shooting experiences I've ever had. And so I'm really excited to go shoot teams with Dan again. We're going to take 6.5 PRCs, and honestly, hopefully hurt some feelings again. I want to go kick some ass. I think we can do it. And then Cactus Classic, I got to go back. I love Clayton and that crew, and Sloan and all them. Like I love that crew. They just put on such a good match. And it's, that those two with ours is the Texas Triple Crown, and I want to support those guys. But this is where I think y'all will think it's interesting. So I have a rifle that should be done. I think this month. It should be pretty soon. I've got a 300 Norma hunting setup that's getting done, and I'm amped about it. Well, I'll do a overview when it gets done, but it's in a Foundation Gideon. It's a Lone Peak. Let's see. It's a Lone Peak 338 titanium, which is friggin' sick. It's gonna have a switch lug, 300 Norma barrel, um, Hawkins bottom metal, Hawkins rings. Still getting everything. It's gonna be Cerakoted, and the lurk pattern again. Anyways, it's gonna be sick. I I really think I'm gonna shoot Clayton's match with the Norma. I think that'll be fun. Obviously, I haven't shot it yet, um, so I'm gonna see how it feels and recoils and all that. But I think that's gonna be the goal. And I'm trying to convince the Bivens brothers to also shoot the match with Normas with me. Um, because why not? And Clayton's range is like one of the few ranges that I would actually take. They do a lot of big hunting stuff, and so their range, like his targets can handle it. And I've already run this idea by him, so but I think that would be pretty sick. So we'll see once the gun gets done what bullet I'll end up doing. But as of right now, I'm leaning towards either the Burger 220 long range hybrids or the Hornady 230 A tips. I think one of those two will probably be the ticket. But let me know what y'all think of that. I think it would be a lot of fun, especially if we could get three of us going to shoot Normas. I think that would be pretty sick. And then I'm gonna film it and get some content and some things like that. Same with the Freestone one. Me and Dan, we're gonna film it, get some content. Then uh obviously the Dust Devil Duel, it's coming up again next year in April in Amarillo. You don't want to miss it. It's gonna be again culmination of the Texas Triple Crown. And it's going to be bigger and better. And we knew going into it this year that we were going to do everything we could and learn what we could, and buy and improve and change next year. And we're doing it. We've already got a lot of things. We've been talking, got things figured out, starting to talk to sponsors again, and I want to go bigger and better on everything. And so ask around to the guys that came this year. It was difficult. It was a challenging match for sure. I mean, it's West Texas. The wind showed up big time. The weather was nuts. I don't know what's going to happen again this year. It's going to be a challenging match again this year, but we are going to tweak some things, simplify some things here and there. But I am amped. I am so amped. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss out. And then there's some matches just that aren't local to me that I've always heard good things about that I want to go. I'm looking at going to the Defiance antisocial match up in Montana. I've always heard phenomenal things about that match, about the match director. It's always one of the biggest matches of the year. And if I can make it happen, that's what I want to. I think that's the one I want to go to. I think it would be fun. And then again, doing things a little different. I want to take, maybe just like kind of a different rifle, something that's maybe not optimized. Like it's not a 6.5 Creedmoor. Like it's not like a 16-pound 6.5 Creedmoor that's optimized for NRL competing. I'm thinking I want to take like a real hunting setup. I don't want to say real because I hunt with my NRL subs, but like a more traditional hunting cartridge, I guess, is what a bigger cartridge. So like this 25/7 PRC. So I shot that last year, but I've got other barrels for it. Like I've got a 7 PRC barrel and a 300 PRC barrel. I'm really thinking about taking that gun and shooting a 7 PRC. I think that would be cool. It's up in Montana, big country. I'm gonna assume that probably like our match, open country, probably longer average target distance. And I think it would be cool. And the whole gist is to get content with it, and kind of showcase a Magnum cartridge, and what it can do in that kind of scenario. So let me know what y'all think of that. If you like that idea, also give me an idea like what y'all think about what cartridges you would like to see. I don't necessarily want to do the 300 PRC if I'm doing the Norma. Kind of splitting hairs. I'd like to do something different. Maybe the 7 PRC. I could do the 25/7 PRC again. I've got some other fun, unique things, but I think the 7 PRC with like a 180, like a 180 hybrid or like a 190 A tip or like a 195 EOL or something like that would be pretty freaking sick. So yeah, let me know. But that's where that's what I'm thinking for NRL, not going to the Grand Slam. Okay, and then so looking at all this stuff, um it gets to be a lot, especially if you're shooting PRS and NRL, or if you've got other things that you're scheduling. The thing that I've noticed, and it is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. It's the nature of all this stuff growing. Matches are filling up quicker. Like I'm dealing with it with Gravestone right now. I think that's starting to be the trend a little bit more. I noticed that definitely this year, and especially towards the end of this year. It definitely seems like matches are filling up faster, which is really nice for the match director side of things. It makes planning way easier. But for the shooter, it's kind of a pain in the ass because you got to be right on top of it as registrations are opening, and then especially if you're shooting a lot of matches, having that much money out in registration fees for 3, 4, 5 months is insane. It just kind of that is the downside to this shit. Like and I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. And it's just kind of the nature of the deal, but I feel like we're just constantly paying match registration fees, 12 months out of the year, which I mean, we are, and it is what it is. I'm not saying that's not how it should be, because it is good to see, the organizations growing and shooters grow, more shooters getting involved, but it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. But so that's kind of my plan for matches for 2026 for PRS and NRL. Um, Let me know. So the ones I'm going to, I've shot most of those, and there's some of my favorite matches. I highly encourage people to go to them. And if you do go, come say hi. I love getting to meet people. Um, and I'm about to get into it with the archery stuff, but the art, I was talking about getting into archery, getting the Matthews, and I had a bunch of people reach out, sending and this is what I love. This shows a two-way street. It's not just me freaking talking at you guys. Like I asked some questions about like, hey, send me archery stuff, things that are cool, channels, big names, stuff like that. And I had a lot of people sending me YouTube channels and things to check out. One of my buddies, Ryan, and this is what's so cool. The people in the like this like hunting, shooting sport, like it's some of the best people. But my buddy Ryan that I've met through NRL that we've shot a lot of matches. He is a archery guru, and we've been texting a lot, and he's been super helping me out. And so I'm freaking amped about getting into this archery stuff. So I mentioned I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up getting the Matthews. Been and this is and I've said it, we live in a great age for precision rifle because there's so much like new stuff and materials and technology. Like the stuff that's coming out is so cool, and you can definitely see it in the archery side of things. Um like the I've been looking at the Essentially, I've been looking at the Matthews Arc 34 and the Hoyt AX 333, and I looked at others, but those were really kind of the two that I'm still kind of torn between. To be honest, I think both are freaking sick. I would be super happy with either of them. I just always wanted a Matthews when I was younger, so there's just kind, or I don't want to say younger, previously, and that's kind of where I gravitated. I've really been doing a deep dive, and like the new tuning. Y'all are starting to figure me out. I'm very technical. I like to like nerd out on this shit. And the new Hoyt tuning system appeals to me in that sense. And it's very tempting. I will say that. And the Hoyt looks, I mean, it looks sick. And but the Matthews, I mean, it looks amazing too. So I'm still kind of finalizing that stuff, but talking with everyone, narrowed down a few things. So for you, those of you that are into archery, you can let me know what you think. I think I'm getting some good shit figured out. But we're for sure going to go with one of those two bows, either the Arc 34 or the AX 333. Then I'm gonna do the Hamsky R7 rest. Just looks like an incredibly well thought out, well built rest. Then the dialed proof sight. Ryan turned me on to dialed. I hadn't seen them. It looks freaking nice. I like that it's made in the States. Um, but it looks like a very, very nice sight. I'm pretty sure that's I'm gonna end up going with that one. Um, got a couple targets picked out. The DM Target Raptor. It's just like a big. They have a 36-inch version with a replaceable core. That's actually I think pretty reasonably priced. So I'm gonna get that one for mainly, I like big targets, especially when I'm, like, getting new sites and shit figured out or going the distance, it's just nice, so I'm gonna I'm gonna get one of those, and I think I'm gonna get, the Morel, like, they have a little one that looks like a dice, I just like the dots, and then Reinhardt makes a shit ton of really cool targets, and, I'm still looking at releases, that one's hard, and I'm just overanalyzing everything. You know, the release. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's your trigger. I've used good triggers for so long. I've kind of become. I don't want to say a snob, but I expect things to break a very particular way. And so looking at releases. I do think I've narrowed it down to I'm going to go with a thumb button release for now, especially just kind of getting back into everything. And then I think I'm gonna add a hinge later on once I kind of get my feet back underneath me a little bit. And then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with the Easton Axis long range arrows. Um and I don't know what all I'm gonna put on them. Like honestly, I think I'm just gonna have the pro shop kind of help get this first batch put together. And so, like I said, I had a bow before about 6 or 7 years ago, and I loved shooting it. I definitely didn't go, like, deep into it like I, have with rifles or like I'm going to this time, but I did like it a lot, and I shot it quite a bit, and I don't wanna say I was really good, but I would say I was decent. The last local tournament I shot here, I won. um, but to be honest, I don't even know, like, I don't even remember, like, how big someone told me about it, and I just went. I don't know how many people were there, I don't know how big it was, but, like, I guess I'm not a complete stranger to archery, I've just been out of it for a little bit. But this go around, so we're getting the bow, and we're gonna get everything set up. And then once as this is gonna be kind of one of my big projects for next year is building a bow shop here in the shop as well. So I've been looking at bow presses, arrow saws, all of the accessories. But I want to be able to work and tune all of my bows myself and work on and build all of the arrows there. This is where I think it's really cool. All so many of the things that we love about rifles and shooting long range applies to archery and bow hunting, especially in the modern day of bow hunting. And I'm looking at modern compound bows. I'm not looking at trad bows or anything like that. But you start looking into how fast and efficient some of these new bows are and the new sights and like how consistent these arrows are and stuff. Guys shooting well over 100 yards with bows now. I mean, it's just bananas. I think that's so freaking cool. And it's kind of the same thing, building a whole system that works together and tuning it all to work and synchronization, and then putting that system together with your body mechanics to achieve pretty remarkable things, I think is really cool. And so that's where I'm excited to kind of go in this deep dive on it. And then, especially with, like the ammo side of things for me, the arrow side of things with archery really, really intrigues me. And so that is one I know I will definitely be going deep into. It's why I'm getting all this stuff to do the arrows. But I love, that's where I think, the ammo side of things so intrigues me, and that's where I think you can get a crazy amount of consistency and or cater things to do exactly what you need them to do. And so, I just want to mess around. I want to build like super light arrows, super heavy arrows, turkey arrows, crazy big broadheads, expandables, uh, and fixed blades and everything in between, and different. I think it's fun. That side of things I think super intrigues me, and because I'm built like an orangutan. For those of you that are watching, I'm 6'3". My arm span is a little over 6'6", so my draw length is 31 inches. At least that's what that's my estimate. That's what I ran on the last bow, before I knew a whole lot of what I was doing. So I may have to tweak it. It may be just a little over 31, but because I have such a long draw length, my arrow speeds should be pretty damn good. I think when I start out, I'm gonna have the bow at 70 pounds, just kind of while I relearn everything and kind of get my feet back underneath me, and then as things kind of get settled, and I'll bump it back up to eight. I'll bump it up to 80, and really see what we can get out of it. But I think, just with the way my mind works, and with and making ammo, I think tuning arrows will be really fun. And then because y'all get to watch this pterodactyl fucking try and shoot a bow. I think the speeds will be pretty cool. So, I'll definitely I'll be doing a bunch of content, and I'll keep y'all posted on how that's going. But I think it's gonna be a shit ton of fun. And then moving on to the next thing, this is one I believe in, and I've harped on a little bit, and I will say I'm not always I don't always follow this the best that I should, but I'm trying. But physical fitness, that is going to be a big focus for me for 2026. I've always loved working out, and I was super involved in athletics when I was younger. Played football, I powerlifted, I did track, and that was always, and I loved it, I'm a big guy. I've always been like I've always been strong, especially when I was powerlifting. That really trained, I guess, I like trained my brain for the way I trained and lifted, and that was, I was big and I was strong. That's what I always was. And then just the nature of starting a business and everything else, that kind of went, it became less of a priority. And long story short, I got fat as fuck, and it was sucked. I was it I To be honest, I think the heaviest I got was like 310. I kind of stopped getting on the scales when I got that heavy. But I'm estimating, I'm pretty sure, I know I broke 300. I'm pretty sure I was around 310. But I have been working on losing weight. I started working out a while back, and lost the kind of the initial chunk, and then maintained there for a while. Then I got mono early this year, and that, oh my god, I lost 30 pounds in a month. That kicked my ass. I mean, I wasn't eating it, it was awful. But since then, I've been working on losing weight, and I've lost quite a bit more. And yeah, I haven't weighed myself in a little while, but I think I'm around 230 now. So down, what, 80 pounds or so. And this, I mean, it's been a while. But essentially, I want to capitalize on this now. And so I'm working on. I'm back in the gym now, which I really like it. Um, it's kind of a love hate relationship right now. Like, I thoroughly love, I like working out, but I fucking hate how out of shape I am right now. And like, it's great, like, I can definitely tell how much better I feel losing all the weight, but I haven't been in the gym in a while, and it definitely shows. So I am glad to be back in the gym, but that is one thing I will be focusing on a lot for 2026. Especially cardio wise, I want to get better. I've never been a runner, and that's going to be a focus. I want to break that. I really want to fix that. But being in shape, and or just having to lug less weight around, and I've noticed it's just so much easier especially when we're doing these dynamic shooting styles. Being able to get up and move your shit quickly is nice, and it's much easier. And so that's going to be a big focus of mine. And I highly encourage other people to do so. You really don't know how much better you feel until you get there. And I will tell you, I feel a million times better walking around the earth at 2:30 than I did at 3:10. I can promise you that. And I still have a ways to go. Like I still need to lose a little bit of weight. I'm trying to make a push, or I will make a push later next year for the summer. I've never really been that looking good for the summer guy. I've always been that, big and fluffy for the winter kind of guy, and I want to change that. I want to have that this year for the first time. So that is going to be a big focus as well, and that's going to help a ton with shooting and hunting and all of the things that come with that. And especially for my hunters, good God, hiking up and down mountains. I it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you to know that hiking up a side of a mountain sucks. And if you suck, it's gonna suck worse. So definitely putting in some work in the gym this year. So then yeah, and then like I said, those are the big things focusing on for 2026. There's a few other things that we've been working on that I'll kind of fill y'all in as they kind of all finish coming together. But that is the shooting and fun stuff schedule. Hunts is a totally different thing. I don't know yet. I'm working on things with that, but check out those matches that I talked about. I think they're really good. Let me know what you think of some of the content ideas and filming the matches. Guys, I really want to encourage, it's the whole point of this show is, I'm trying to get better and everything that I do. The people that are listening to the show, I know are doing the same thing, and that's why you listen to the show. I hope I think 2026 is going to be a damn good year based on a lot of the things that we've been putting in place, and I want it to be the best year for you guys too. And one of the biggest things, the first step to that I've found is just being aware. And awareness is one of the biggest things that if you don't know, you don't have it, and it can be a problem. But once, if you just start, and so this is where I want to challenge people to just start thinking a little differently, challenging the way you think, what you hear, what people are telling you, how you're processing things. And because the reality is, if you're not even aware of what you're doing or where you're at, or what, where your skill set is at, or something like that, and you're not aware that there is a higher level, or there is room to improve, then you're just stagnant, and you're not going anywhere. So, like, for example, there may, uh I'm making up a scenario, but say that there's just an average guy that he's been he's got targets set up on his farm, that he's been practicing, shooting out to distance for 10 years, and he's the best shooter in his friend group and has been forever, and everyone thinks that dude is the freaking sniper, and then that guy thinks he's king shit of everything, but he doesn't know that PRS exists, or NRL exists, or that these what is true, what people can truly be capable of with these systems. um then he doesn't even know that there's a lot of room for improvement, and that there's a lot of things that he can do. And that applies to everything in life, whether it's fitness or business or work or family or friends, and being aware of how you're treating people, or, how you're coming across, or what level, like, are you actually working as hard as you say you are, or you think you are? Are you just working harder than you've worked, but there could be someone out there doing 20 times the amount of work as you, and if you just don't even know that that's possible, you're getting behind. So it's just, bec- building awareness. And because the thing is, once you're aware, then you can make a decision on how you wanna handle it. Like, this is a stupid example, but like I- I'm aware that there are way more butterflies out there than I know of. Does that matter to me? No. I don't give a shit about butterflies. I'm not going to go, research into butterflies and figuring all this shit out. But, if I wanted to become a butterfly photographer and I thought there were only three types of butterflies, and it was the ones that are in my front yard, and I wanted to, that's what I'm getting at is so, um, figuring out awareness and, or developing awareness and then being able to make a plan to move on that is a big deal that honestly a lot of people, I think just miss. So, start thinking on that, challenge yourself, challenge what you hear, and start putting in plans for next year and make, make big goals. I've got big goals. Um and put in some work. Put in the work and let's see how next year turns up. And I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a really good one. But yeah, like I said, guys, that is the recap of 2025 and the plan for 2026. Use this time to get ahead and put in some work. Come out ahead of everyone. 2026 can and should be pretty freaking epic. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much for the feedback. I love getting the messages and the feedback and the questions. I'm piling questions for another Q&A at some point, but I sincerely appreciate you guys. I hope y'all are having a great holiday season. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope Christmas is going to be great. Spend some time with your family. Enjoy the ones that you love. And guys, I'll see you next week. Thank you to the show sponsors: Alpha Munitions, Lone Peak, Collis Foundation, Hawkins Precision, West Texas Ordnance, Raven Rifles, and Botany Solutions. I love you guys. I'll see you next week.